There comes a time when words no longer serve a purpose, when explanations feel like a battle against the wind, when the energy once given so freely is now pulled back, protected, and redirected. A woman's silence is not surrender, it is a declaration. It is the final warning before transformation takes place. When a woman stops speaking, stops explaining, stops pleading, it is because she has shifted her energy inward. She is no longer reacting to the world around her. She is creating something new within. She understands that battles are not won through endless arguments, but through the quiet power of assumption. In silence, she is no longer trying to fix what refuses to change. Instead, she is aligning herself with something greater. She is stepping into a future where she no longer needs to ask for what should have been freely given. Understand this. Silence is not the absence of power, it is the beginning of it. When she becomes quiet, she is making room for something better. When she no longer fights, she is allowing the universe to do it for her. Her silence is not a retreat. It is not defeat. It is the closing of one door and the opening of another. It is a signal that she is detached from what no longer serves her and is stepping boldly into a reality she chooses for herself. So if you ever notice her silence, don't mistake it for indifference. It is not a loss of feeling, it is a shift in consciousness. And when consciousness shifts, reality follows. A woman's silence is her final warning, because the moment she stops speaking about it, she has already moved on. The power of silence. Silence is often misunderstood. Many see it as a passive response, a lack of action, or even weakness. But in reality, silence can be one of the most powerful forces in existence. It is not the absence of thought or emotion. It is a deliberate choice, a redirection of energy, a final warning before a transformation begins. For centuries, people have equated power with loudness. They believe that the one who speaks the most, argues the longest, or makes the greatest noise is the one who has control. But true power is not found in how much you speak. It is found in knowing when not to. A woman who chooses silence over unnecessary conflict has already gained the upper hand. She is no longer engaging in a battle of words. She has risen above it. When a woman falls silent, it does not mean she has nothing to say. It does not mean she is indifferent or that she lacks the ability to respond. Instead, it signifies something much deeper. She has withdrawn her energy from the situation. She has recognized that words alone cannot change what must be changed within. Instead of wasting her breath on explanations and justifications, she turns inward and focuses on something far more powerful, herself. Silence is the space where clarity is born. It is in silence that a woman realizes her worth, her strength, and her next steps. She no longer allows herself to be drained by arguments, complaints, or efforts to prove her value to those who fail to see it. She understands that if her presence is not appreciated, her absence will be noticed. And so, she chooses to walk away from noise and into stillness, where real power resides. A woman's silence is not a retreat. It is a repositioning. She does not withdraw because she is defeated. She withdraws because she knows she has already won. When she stops fighting, she is no longer bound to what once held her back. She no longer waits for someone to change, to apologize, or to see her worth. Instead, she steps into the reality she deserves, leaving behind what no longer serves her. There is a deep wisdom in silence. It allows space for things to unfold, for lessons to be learned, for truth to reveal itself. When a woman is silent, she is not ignoring the situation, she is observing it. She's allowing time to show her what words cannot. And in that silence, she finds her answers. She finds the courage to let go. She finds the strength to move forward without looking back. It is important to understand that silence is not the absence of power, it is the beginning of it. The moment a woman chooses to be silent rather than engage in pointless conflict, she has already shifted the outcome. She is no longer reacting, she is creating. She is choosing where her energy goes, and she is reclaiming control over her reality. When a woman stops explaining herself, it is not because she lacks an argument, it is because she no longer needs one. When she stops justifying her choices, it is because she is at peace with them. And when she no longer responds to what does not align with her, it is because she has already outgrown it. A woman's silence is her final warning. It is the moment before change happens, before she steps into a new reality, before she rises into the life she was always meant to live. So, if you ever notice her silence, do not mistake it for indifference. It is not a loss of feeling. It is the ultimate sign of transformation. And once she has made that choice, nothing will ever be the same again. A shift in consciousness. There is a moment in every woman's life when she stops reacting. She no longer feels the need to explain, argue, or prove herself. This is not because she doesn't care. It is because she has shifted her consciousness. She has moved beyond the present situation, beyond the noise, and into a space where her energy is preserved for what truly matters. This shift in consciousness is not immediate. It happens gradually, often after repeated experiences that show her where her energy is being wasted. At first, she tried to make things work. She explains herself, hoping to be understood. She invests her time and emotions, believing that effort alone can change the outcome. But eventually she realizes something powerful. Change does not come from forcing things on the outside. It comes from shifting within. When a woman reaches this point, everything about her begins to change. She no longer reacts to negativity, drama, or attempts to provoke her. She understands that reacting only fuels what she no longer wants in her life. Instead of engaging, she chooses silence. Not as a form of retreat, but as a declaration that she is done participating in anything that drains her energy. This shift is noticeable. The people around her feel it. They see that she is no longer affected by what once troubled her. She is no longer caught in cycles of explanation, frustration, or disappointment. She has moved on, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. And once this shift occurs, there is no turning back. It is important to understand that silence is not about weakness. It is about elevation. A woman who has shifted her consciousness no longer seeks validation from outside sources. She no longer depends on others to recognize her worth. She knows that her value is not defined by anyone's approval or perception. As she shifts, she begins to attract different experiences. The relationships that once drained her begin to fade. The situations that once frustrated her no longer hold power over her. She is no longer a prisoner of her emotions. She is in control of them. And this control is what allows her to step into a new reality, one where she is no longer bound by the limitations of the past. The most remarkable thing about this shift is that it happens internally before it manifests externally. The moment she stops feeling the need to respond, the moment she decides she is done explaining herself, she has already stepped into a new state of being. And because the world reflects what we hold within, her external reality soon begins to change as well. People may try to pull her back into the old version of herself. They may test her silence, hoping to provoke a reaction. But she knows better. She knows that engaging in the same patterns will only bring the same results. So she chooses differently. She chooses peace over chaos. She chooses growth over stagnation. She chooses her. A woman's silence is not about giving up. It is about leveling up. It is about stepping into a higher state of being, where she no longer fights unnecessary battles. She no longer tries to force what is not meant for her. She allows life to flow, knowing that what is truly aligned with her will come effortlessly. This shift in consciousness is her greatest power. It is the moment she stops seeking and starts attracting. It is the moment she stops chasing and starts receiving. And when this shift happens, everything in her life begins to align with the peace, strength, and certainty she has found within herself. Imagination shapes destiny. A woman's silence is not emptiness. It is creation. When she stops speaking about a situation, it does not mean she has accepted defeat. It means she has turned her focus inward, where the real work begins. The power of imagination is often underestimated, but it is the foundation of everything that manifests in life. Every great transformation begins within. A woman who falls silent is not lost. She is building. She is no longer engaging in conversations that drain her, arguments that go nowhere, or situations that keep her trapped in cycles of frustration. Instead, she is using her greatest tool, her mind. She understands that imagination is not just a dream, it is the blueprint of reality. The world outside is a reflection of what we hold within. If a woman constantly engages in the same discussions, the same battles, and the same frustrations, she will continue to experience them. But the moment she stops reacting and starts envisioning something greater, everything begins to change. Her silence is not withdrawal, it is alignment. When she imagines a new reality, she is already stepping into it. Her thoughts become her guide, her emotions become her fuel, and her actions start to follow the new vision she has created. She no longer looks at what is happening now, she focuses on what she is building in her mind. And soon, her external world must reflect the shift that has already taken place within her. Silence is not about doing nothing. It is about redirecting energy. A woman who stops explaining herself is not weak. She is wise. She understands that true change does not come from demanding it from others. It comes from assuming it within herself. The moment she sees herself as powerful, respected, and valued, the world responds accordingly. Many people misunderstand this process. They believe that action alone creates change. But every action is first shaped by a thought, and every thought is first shaped by imagination. A woman who masters her imagination masters her destiny. She does not beg for what she deserves, she expects it. She does not fight for a seat at the table, she builds her own. Her silence is her creative space. It is in those quiet moments that she sets new standards for herself. She stops settling for less than she deserves. She no longer tolerates what drains her. She shifts from asking to deciding, from waiting to creating. And once she has made that internal decision, everything around her begins to rearrange itself to match the vision she holds. This is why silence is so powerful. It is not about absence, it is about transformation. A woman who understands the power of her own imagination is unstoppable. She does not waste time on what no longer serves her. She does not stay where she is not valued. She moves forward, silently but surely creating a reality that aligns with the life she truly desires. So when a woman stops talking, understand this. She is not losing. She is winning in ways that cannot yet be seen. She is reshaping her world not through words but through vision. And when she finally speaks again, it will not be to argue or explain. It will be to share the life she has built in the silence. Detachment is power. A woman's silence is not surrender. It is detachment. When she stops arguing, explaining, or seeking approval, it is not because she has given up. It is because she has chosen to reclaim her power. Detachment does not mean she no longer cares. It means she no longer allows herself to be controlled by what does not serve her. Attachment is one of the most misunderstood concepts. Many believe that to be strong, one must fight, resist, or prove their worth. But true strength is found in the ability to let go. A woman who is silent is not waiting for permission or validation. She has realized that she does not need them. She understands that Holding on to situations, people, or beliefs that drain her only delays her growth. When she detaches, she shifts her energy. She no longer invests in what brings her pain. She no longer seeks change from those who refuse to change. Instead, she turns inward, focusing on herself, her peace, and her future. Detachment is not about coldness. It is about wisdom. She recognizes when something no longer aligns with her and walks away, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Detachment is power because it removes the need for external control. A woman who is detached cannot be manipulated. She does not react to provocation. She does not chase what is not meant for her. She knows that what is truly aligned with her will come naturally, without force. And what no longer serves her will fall away without resistance. Her silence is a sign that she has risen above the situation. She is no longer in conflict with herself or with others. She understands that peace is more valuable than proving a point. She does not seek revenge or closure. She seeks freedom. And that freedom comes when she releases the need to hold on. When a woman detaches, everything changes. She no longer tolerates mistreatment. She no longer accepts less than what she deserves. She no longer waits for someone else to change her circumstances. She steps into her own power and moves forward unshaken. People may try to pull her back into the old version of herself. They may try to provoke a reaction, to test her resolve. But she remains silent, not because she is weak, but because she has already won. She does not need to respond. Her actions speak for her. Her energy has shifted, and with it, her entire reality begins to change. Detachment is not about giving up. It is about rising up. A woman who understands this no longer operates from a place of fear or need. She trusts herself. She knows that her silence is not emptiness. It is space for something better. And when she finally speaks again, it will be with purpose, clarity, and power. Silence is the final decision. A woman's silence is not hesitation. It is her final decision. When she no longer argues, explains, or justifies herself, it means she has already made up her mind. She has reached a point where she no longer seeks change in others. She has chosen change for herself. Silence is not about uncertainty. It is about clarity. Before she falls silent, she has already given enough chances. She has tried to communicate, to compromise, to make things work. She has explained herself time and time again, hoping to be heard. But once she realizes that words will not change what she is experiencing, she stops speaking. She stops waiting. And she moves on, mentally, emotionally, and sometimes even physically. Many mistake her silence for weakness. They believe that if she is not speaking, she must still be undecided, still waiting for a response. But the truth is, silence is not waiting. It is walking away. It is the moment she stops asking for change and starts becoming the change. This final decision is not fueled by anger, revenge, or resentment. It is fueled by self-respect. She no longer begs for someone to see her worth because she has finally seen it for herself. She no longer tries to prove anything. She knows that her energy is better spent building the life she deserves. A woman's silence is the closing of one chapter and the beginning of another. It is the moment she stops looking backward and starts moving forward. It is the realization that she is not defined by the past, by how others have treated her, or by what she has tolerated before. She is defined by what she chooses next. When she is silent, pay attention. Not because she wants a reaction, but because she has already made her move, and once she has made her final decision, nothing will bring her back to what she has left behind.